robot time! As I've got quite a lot to talk about this week, I'm going to go relatively quickly and start off with Botshot's Ratchet, which I found in Tesco's at the beginning of the week. Looking for some good new stuff, which of course doesn't really exist yet at the moment. Prime is just... everything's Wave 1 everywhere, and even the latest stuff that's out I don't really want. I've heard tell that Cyberverse, Ironhide and Dreadwing are around in select Sainsbury's stores, which makes me rage slightly because I've just moved away from somewhere where there's a Sainsbury's down the road. Ugh. But suffice to say, I haven't found them in my local Sainsbury's yet. So the latest thing that I found is new Botshots. So of course it's a Ratchet, so I had to have it, and he's really nice actually. You can probably see from the distance he's at, even at the weird blurry resolution, that he hasn't actually got any eyes painted in. Why this is, I can't quite understand. It's like, when you look at Botshots, it's like they only use like, what, 3 colours of paint on them? So he's got the silver on his face, the red on his head, feet and hands, and then he's got, well, I suppose a darker silver on the windows and a lighter red on the siren lights. Couldn't they have put some blue into his eyes maybe? I think they could have done. Either way, he's nice, and he's Botshot number 3. I haven't exactly gone completely mental for them, but when I find a Thundercracker I'll get him and probably Lockdown as well. So, he's purchase number 1, or rather getting number 1, because a few of these figures which I've got this week I haven't actually purchased, I've been given. Like my knockoff Devastator, which you saw in the unboxing, and Evac down there as well. All very nice. I have realised it's doing that though, that Scrapper is sort of missing that sort of canopy piece, and it looks like it would go in these 2 holes, so that's something else, but it still doesn't really matter to me. A couple of days after they came, I was thrust into my hands 2, count them, 2 packages from the postman, which I predicted quite accurately. I thought that the 2 packages in question would arrive simultaneously after saying they were shipped on like the same day, and I was thinking, oh, it'd be good if they came together, and they did. One was a Dark of the Moon Jolt, which I couldn't pass up for the price it was going for on Amazon. It was a penny and like £4 something postage. I thought, might as well take a punt at that sort of price, and he's worth it, to be honest. I don't really see why this is like the figure that just doesn't sell. This is the figure I've seen really cheap so often on the internet. You don't necessarily find them in shops. I haven't seen that many around, but it just seems like he doesn't sell, and I can't understand why, because the vehicle mode is actually very nice. I suppose it's a take on the Chevy Volt that he was in Revenge of the Fallen, but with a more muted colour scheme. I don't really like the sort of pale colours they've used. It is just really sort of pale grey blue and loads of default grey on his robot mode bits, and then some all sparkly detailing splashed here and there, which looks quite nice. I like this sort of texture to the top, all this sort of carbon fibre stuff, and the mech tech's actually surprisingly interesting. It goes from being this tiny boring sort of pistol, and then badoosh, it's some big cannon. I think it looks really good, but it's just a shame that where Jolt's lack of hands come in, he can't really wield it very well. It just doesn't really look quite right. Yesterday though, a couple of incidents befell this figure. One, when I was transforming him, I can't remember whether it was robot to vehicle or the other way around, a small little plastic peg looking bit just fell out from nowhere, and I've scoured every inch of this thing and cannot find where it broke off of, and it still works perfectly, nothing's fallen off. I can't understand what it was, but it looked just like a little peg, and I thought, where the hell's this come from? And then later in the day, upon picking him up in robot mode and putting him back into car mode, I found that the Autobot symbol on his, I don't know, abdomen has all started rubbing off. Look at that. It's that sort of black smudge there. That should be an Autobot symbol. But for some reason, I hadn't even noticed. I picked him up in robot mode, sort of passed my finger over that area, and then looked at it and thought, if I just rub that off, but there's no trace of it. Another inexplicable sort of damage that suddenly happened for no apparent reason. Short of this being a review, I'm just going to say that Jolt's robot mode's actually pretty good. The transformation is clever. He certainly looks more movie accurate than the Revenge of the Fallen one, but I've got to say, I do rather prefer the colours on that. All the nice deep metallic blue. This sort of pale washed out scheme isn't a match for that. Can someone tell me though why you can do this? It plays no part in transformation, and I'm just gonna sort of leave it and say make your own jokes about it. So, what was this second fabled package I received the same day as Jolt? Well, yes, look at this! It's all Einsteiny mechanic, skinny Mercedes robot guy goodness. Oh, this is such a nice figure, and he was worth 30 quid, I've got to say. Pre-ordered and it came, and I'm so happy. But a mystery surrounds him. Something I'm going to elaborate in the review, which I've already started filming. This is not Q. The Takara version, which I thought was the only one available because Hasbro cancelled him, is called Autobot Q on the box. And I took this out of the box Kapow sent it to me, and it says, quite plainly, Wheeljack. Not Q, Wheeljack. And this isn't the Takara version because there's no little trading card thing, there's no Japanese text on it or stickers or anything like that. Nothing saying Takara whatsoever. Everything points this to being Hasbro. Everything points to this having been intended for US release because the box had tech specs and a full bio, which is really good. And just, where the hell did this thing come from now? But enough waffle about that sort of enigma. This is a very nice figure, and to sort of save me talking about him for 15 minutes, I'm just going to say wait for the review because this is so nice. Oh, it's a Wheeljack, actually has tools, and for some reason a giant spear that they didn't need to put on it. I can't recommend this guy enough. I have been looking at getting a Soundwave on eBay, but I just look at pictures of that and think, oh, the robot mode just really is not to be desired by me. The car mode looks great. I love having European cars for a change. I mean, Wheeljack turns into a car I've actually seen a good few times on the roads here. I mean, it's all well and good having licensed vehicles, but when they're American cars, or especially concept cars that you're never going to see even if you do live in America, what's the point? I love the sort of robots in disguise element that having really real cars brings to figures like this guy. And at least Soundwave is a real car as well, even if he is insanely expensive. But that bot mode just looks... he's too sort of skinny. He needs more upper body bulk like the Human Alliance, just without those weird feet. So I'm going to sort of think about that. I would like to have him, just to be able to have him and have another Dark of the Moon Decepticon and have another rare Dark of the Moon figure, I suppose. Now it seems to have gone down in price and being like 70 quid for a deluxe. I might jump on one, but I'm not really sure whether I should. Tell me what you think, because really, I don't really want him that much. So, you may be thinking that concludes my week of Transformers obtainments, but you'd be wrong, because this very morning I received a package from Aaron, my Turbo Reviews, sending me yet more awesome stuff, with a copy of Regeneration 1 80.5, which is all a bit crumpled up, I don't mind. That was quite a good read, nice to have something new by Simon Furman. It's been a long time since I read any of his stuff. But that wasn't exactly the highlight of the package, because he did include a figure which I've been looking for a very long time. Yes. You may remember in an earlier episode of Twit, about November time I think maybe, I said I was looking at one on eBay and was expecting to get him, but then lost out on him.
Mega Octane.
So that I'd finally have some sort of centre to some sort of malformed Ruinaticus or Brutication. He's missing a few bits, like the chest sort of bit and his gun and the silly ramp thing. But when you consider what I really wanted him for, let me just say that.
Behold!
Ruinaticus. Yeah, he's not a full ruination because I have to use G2 Brawl down here. I'm so happy to finally make this thing. Oh, it has been 10 years I have wanted to be able to put these together like this. Roll bar down here was my first ever Decepticon, and then I got Mova not too long after that. And they are just favourites of mine so much, and I played with them so many times. Tried to put them together, just those two, trying to figure out what like this armature that goes in here was for and all that sort of thing. I knew they combined, I didn't know how, but I was just amazed when I first saw them because I hadn't known about combiners before. I was like, what? Combiners you can put together to make a big robot like this? And it's got such a cool name like Ruination. Oh my god, yes, I've got to get all of them. And at the time, the shop that I got these two from, which was some discount toy place, which I did see a Beast Wars Scorponok in and various other things. It was like a huge warehouse for toys that were a few years old. But I hadn't seen anything in there before anywhere else. It was a paradise, and it didn't last very long, which was a shame. But I did see a Rotor in there and Armorhide in there, but I never saw Mega Octane. And I've been wanting this thing for so long, just so I can put all these together. And yes, it's an approximation, having to use Mr. Neon down here, but I don't mind. I'm just so happy to have this thing, it's so awesome! So, a colossal thank you goes out to Aaron for giving me, once again, some unbridled awesome. Oh, this thing is just so nice. And in the space of a week, I've acquired not one, but 2 combiners. Well, completed. Feels good, man, feels good. So, be on your guard for incoming reviews.
And I shall see thee anon.